6 books on my anticipated books list for this year, which surprises me because I really only thought it was a couple. So let's get stuck into this list and I'll tell you the ones that I am chomping at the bit to get started on. First one is probably going to be my most anticipated read. Yes, I was thinking maybe another one on this list, but no, I think this one is the one I'm really looking forward to because I am genuinely checking for updates. There is no release date as of yet. I am hoping it's released this year. I'm pretty sure it's going to be released this year. There isn't a confirmation from the author. There hasn't been an update since December, I think. We don't know when it's coming out, just that it is most likely going to come out this year. Strength of the Few is book 2 in the Hierarchy series by James Islington. Book 1 was The Will of the Many, which was my only 5-star read of last year. We are following our main character, Viz Telemus, who gets adopted by this quite elite family in this world, and he is tasked with joining this elite school. He has to work his way up and then figure out what are they hiding, what did they try to cover up, because essentially the father or the person who adopted Viz thinks there's some dodgy business going on. In the first book, we get a lot of political maneuvering. We find out that there's a lot of factions going on here and people hiding stuff within this world. It is Roman Empire inspired, which is why you have the whole hierarchy thing going on, from what I understand. The Romans are really big on that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't really know much about Roman history, but that's kind of the basics of the book. Book 1 was nothing but drama after cliffhanger. It was just exciting. Nothing but excitement within book 1. And I just want to get stuck into book 2 because book 1 left us off on a massive cliffhanger. It basically left us with so many questions and just blew open the door. Wide open. And I need to know. I need to know what happens because I'm chomping at the bit. I can't wait. The next book on this list, I didn't plan on adding it in, but I ended up reading book 1, literally finished it a couple days ago and loved it. It is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, which is book 3 in the Legendborn cycle, and it comes out on the 13th of March. This one was a surprise love for me because I really only started book 1 just because book 3 was coming out, and I just figured why not? It was in a bookstore and I picked it up. I had such a blast reading this book. I really enjoyed the world building. It's urban fantasy, so it's set in modern day, so there isn't really a whole host of world building to do. It's a lot of backstory with the magic system, which I think at times can get a little bit confusing, but I think that just literally from the first few pages, the book gets going and the excitement's there. And now that I have gotten stuck into the world, I just really wanted to know how it ended. So book 1 was really the main character, Bree, getting used to the environment that she was in. She comes in contact with this secret society that's based around the Arthurian legend, and she doesn't believe that her mother's death was entirely an accident, and this is why it leads her to meet up with the Legendborn, and she finds out a lot more about herself and her history, and there's a lot of goings on within the school. This was just so exciting, action-packed. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So this is why I've added book 3 onto my list, because I just really want to know how it ends. After Strength of the Few, this next book might actually be my second most anticipated read of the year. It is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which comes out 18th of March. This is noted as being book 0.5 in the Hunger Games series. I have to check, but I don't know what The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is in like the order. No idea. I thought that was book 4, but if Haymitch's Games, which is a prequel to Katniss's, is 0.5, I don't know what they would put President Snow one as. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. I am looking forward to this one so much. I know within the Hunger Games fandom, and I think in general, Haymitch's Games is one that people have always really looked forward to. And I think mostly it's to do with the fact that Haymitch, he's a beloved character, but also his game was double the number of tributes. And in terms of the way they described it in the Hunger Games series, it sounded like it would be a fantastic watch. And I'm very curious to see how she does this one. From what I understand, Suzanne Collins only really adds to the Hunger Games universe if she feels like she has something worthy to say. And I believe in this book, she's going to be sort of exploring the themes of propaganda, which I think in this day and age, especially with what's going on, is I think, very apt. Now, I saw a theory online that I really liked, and essentially they said that this could possibly be a dual POV and will follow someone in one of the career districts and then follow Haymitch as well. So how, I think it's District 2, how they're sold the games because they kind of are favoured by the capital compared to how someone in District 12 might view the games. I think that would be a really interesting POV, not just to follow Haymitch, because we kind of already know what his story entails. And I think in terms of that theory, that would be a great way to make the story really fresh. I would say that my only concern really in terms of the Hunger Games series is just overkill. Like just killing off the series with writing too many stories. With Haymitch's story coming out, I think that's the one, like I said, that people are very excited to get the background on or get more fleshed out. But I don't know if I want many more books within this world. I think at this point, after Haymitch's games, it might be enough. I don't know. She has to really wow if she is going to write another one. But I'm looking forward to this book, and I'm looking forward to the movie I know is going to come. This one is a long time coming. This is The Lord of Demons by Evan Winters, which is book 3 in the Burning Quartet, and it's supposed to come out on May 8th. I looked this up, and book 2 actually came out in 2021. So it's been 4 years in the making. It's been quite some time. I did have a few criticisms of book 2, which I've addressed in my review, but I did really enjoy the series as a whole, and I think I really loved book 1 enough to still continue on with the series. This is an African inspired book or series, and within this world we're following this one group of people. They have been at war for like hundreds of years with their enemies, so it's all the people have known is just war, fighting, all that stuff, death, destruction, whatever. There's dragons in this book, and women are able to control dragons, so they're quite high up within the society from what I remember. We are following our main character Tao, who's been on this really long and vicious revenge plot, and in order to fulfill this revenge, it's led him down this path of almost self-destruction, because he's really worked hard and has been working very hard throughout like book 1 and book 2 in order to become the best and greatest swordsmith that their society has ever known. And it's taken him, well, it is taking him down this very, very dark path, which is where I think the name for book 3 has come from. I think that's the inspiration here. I am just very curious to see where the author goes with the series, because I think that whilst this has been very military heavy, a lot of fighting, a lot of action, I feel like I have said in the past before that it needed a few more quiet moments, a few more moments for us to be involved as the reader within the political scheming, because there's a lot of it going on behind the scenes. I just don't think enough of it happening on the pages. So I'm excited, and I want to jump straight back into this world. I still have my reservations of where it's going to go, and I think book 3 is going to be make or break for me, but it's been 4 years. I need to know what happens after the events of book 2. Now this next one doesn't have a synopsis. I have no idea what the plot is. I don't know anything about this book, okay? But I follow the author on Threads, and she's been, I was gonna say tweeting, I don't know what, threading, I don't know. But she's been talking about this book, and just from the vibes alone, I am intrigued. This is Our Vicious Oath by Annie Davenport, which comes out on the 25th of September. I'm gonna read out one of her threads here. This book is a dark romantic fantasy, enemies to lovers, and it's heavy on the spice. And while the MMC is a king, Malachi is not a Prince Charming figure. He's a ruthless, ambitious faking. Now, I am on my hunt to find my go-to Fae series, and I really enjoyed Annie Davenport's writing when I read The Blood Trials. I really liked it, and I like how she wrote the longing between the two main characters. So I'm intrigued to get stuck into this next book. This book is such a random addition to this list, okay? I'm going to explain in a second why I've added it, but it is Alchemized by Senlin Yu, and this comes out on the 30th of September. Now, the original name of this book was called Manacled by the same author, and it started off as Draco and Hermione fanfiction mixed in with The Handmaid's Tale. I don't give a damn about Harry Potter. I've never read the books. I think I've only watched the first and second movie, or third, I can't remember, I don't know. But I really like The Handmaid's Tale, and I think just the concept alone was very intriguing. Like, where are we going here? The only thing that actually stopped me from originally reading it was the Harry Potter element of the story. Because one, I feel like I don't read fan fiction, but I feel like you have to really like the original, like the source material that the fanfic is based on to read it. And I think just having the Handmaid's Tale element of it wasn't going to carry it through, right? But obviously, with it being traditionally published now, the author has had to rewrite it, and I think having the Handmaid's Tale element is enough for me to get interested in it and give it a go. I don't remember what the original plotline for Manor Called was, but in this book, in Alchemized, we are following the main character Helena, and she's an alchemist. Within this world, there's been a war that has been waged, and Helena's side has lost. So she's been captured. However, towards the end, and well, the lead up to the end of the war, she has lost her memories. So the winning side is now wondering, is she kind of this insignificant alchemist? Why has she lost her memories, and what is she hiding? I think she's entrusted with this one family, and they are tasked with finding out what she knows and what her memories might uncover for them. I don't know, all in all, I'm very intrigued. I get the vibe this is going to be enemies to lovers, or like forced romance, forced proximity. I think if we're going to remove, or at least heavily amend, the Handmaid's Tale element, that would make me a little bit more comfy, because loving those kinds of situations, it's a bit dodgy. Although I think it might be a dark romance, so I've not read or tried any dark romance books, not that I think I have. I don't know, I'm just curious, and I want to see if it lives up to the hype. So folks, those are all of the books I am anticipating the release of for this year. Let me know if there's any others that I should add, because my finger has not been on that pulse. So these are all the ones that I've just casually come across that I'm like, yep, I'm gonna add that to this list. That's it from me today, and I will see you all in my next video.